the second time ever on Monday night. Cowboys and Bears, a bunch of Pro Bowlers on the field. One who's struggling, Jason Witten, lacerated his spleen in the preseason. Lisa Salters, he's had a tough couple of weeks after coming back to the field.
Yeah, Mike, Jason Witten is usually as sure-handed as they come, but through 3 games this season, he has already dropped 4 passes. Very un-Jason Witten-like. I was talking to Witten during pregame warm-ups, and he said, I cannot wait to get this game started, to get this monkey off my back. He said the hardest part is just keeping calm, keeping his composure. He's kept reminding himself, I've done this a million times before. It would be no surprise, of course, if the Cowboys tried to get him some early touches, and Witten says he's all for that. Tony Romo, in fact, pulled Witten aside earlier in the week and said, hey, we're going to keep coming to you. Just catch the ball. Simple enough, right, Mike?
Sounds simple. Let's see if he can get the mental block out of his head. Robbie Gould to kick off for the Bears, who won the toss and deferred the option of the second half. Felix Jones, no return. Off we go from Texas, and the Cowboys will take over at the 20, and they'll do it with Tony Romo. There you see the numbers so far in the season, and sacked 7 times doesn't begin to tell the tale. Tony's been hit a whole bunch as well. And when you go back and watch the Tampa Bay game, last week's game for the Cowboys, false starts, mistakes, they were just not crisp on offense at all to start the game.
Got to start faster, and they need to get Jason Witten the ball early in this football game.
Opening drive from the 20. Here comes DeMarco Murray, the second-year back, with a first-down run of 11. Last year's 3rd-round pick. He's kind of taken away that #1 running back job over the last year.
Well, they do a nice job running a zone scheme right off the left side, and you're going to see at the point of attack, wide receiver number 85, Kevin Ogletree, slide across the formation. Bill Callahan, the offensive line coach of the Dallas Cowboys, has got a little deception in this game plan for Brian Urlacher and Lance Briggs, 2 veteran linebackers that have seen it all.
Kill!
As Romo adjusts the play, it's a second straight run for Murray, and nowhere to go. Nice cutback to turn negative yards into positive. A gain of 4 before major rights tackle. So around the offense of Romo and Murray, Lisa talked about Witten and how he has to get going, because that'll free things up for Des Bryant and Miles Austin, those receivers who we've seen make plays down the field. And the O-line, both tackles have flipped from last year. Both guards are new. They came in from other places this year. And the center is the 6th center they've used this year, Ryan Cook. There's a whole mess up front. They got to be better. Romo, Ogletree, first down and more. 47-yard line for Kevin.
Good call by Jason Garrett. A quick rhythmic hook route to Kevin Ogletree into the short side of the field. Watch Tony Romo gets good protection. Ball's out, 3 steps, 1 hitch. Another first down. Ogletree has come in here, really solidified himself as the number 3 receiver for the Cowboys. The more I watch him, he looks like a number 2 or a 1 on this football team right now.
2 first downs, but a negative play, and that's been the bugaboo for this Dallas offense so far. Lance Briggs on the other side, a loss of about 3 yards. So Rod Marinelli was the head coach of the Lions, has been the defensive coordinator here with Lovie Smith the last few years in Chicago. We mentioned Julius Peppers. They rotate players up front, very impact front 4, that keeps Lance Briggs and Brian Urlacher clean, allows them to make plays, and they've been doing it together for 10 years. Charles Tillman and Tim Jennings, those corners, are playing very well for the Chicago defense to start the season. And there's a pressure off the edge, but Romo got rid of it, and Witten's got it near midfield. That's a gain of about 5 for Tony.
Well, good job by Tony Romo. DJ Moore comes clean off the corner, and Jason Witten sees it. He becomes the hot receiver. That's just 2 veterans getting it done. Even though it's a little short catch, I call those bluegills. They add up at the end of the night, and Jason Witten needs those catches early just to regain his confidence, because once he does, that's a good sign for the Cowboys.
Felix Jones now the back for Romo. On 3rd and 7, the Bears rush 5, and Romo's pass complete to Witten for the first down, and those are the kind of plays we've seen Jason make over these 9+ years.
Well, you got to really like what Doug Free does against Julius Peppers to start this game. One-on-one pass protection. And so far, Tony Romo has had a clean pocket, and Jason Witten's got 2 early catches. But Doug Free has really struggled. 4 penalties last week. He's the $8 million right tackle. They need him to play up to that.
Here comes the end around. That is Ogletree met by Shea McClellan. But the first-round pick couldn't make a tackle, and Major Wright, the safety, has to make it. Instead of a loss of 4, it's a gain of 4.
Well, you're going to see the Chicago Bears blitz. Dallas wants to use a lot of misdirection plays. Here comes a blitz off the left side. It's an over-the-top handoff to Ogletree. One-on-one with Shea McClellan in the open air. That's what great receivers do. They make one-man miss. But against this Chicago Bear defense, it's a fast flow linebacking core led by Brian Urlacher. You want to run some reverses, some counters, some misdirection throughout the night.
2nd and 6, and it's Murray again. On the line of scrimmage, it's Brian Urlacher. You know Urlacher, 8 Pro Bowls, been around forever. The knee problem, the injury the very last week of last season. People were concerned because Urlacher was honest. He said, hey, I'm not going to be the same anymore in my career. Yesterday he told us, I'm feeling good. Starting to build up some of his conditioning. I have to wear a knee brace. It bothers me. I don't want to wear it, but they tell me I have to. But, John, didn't you get the sense from him last night? He's starting to feel more himself.
Yes, he is. He's swimming all the time. As you point out, the conditioning is so important to these linebackers that play every down, every week.
Romo, no time, into the waiting arms of Henry Melton. Former Longhorn back in Texas, gives you a hook and horns. His 4th sack of the season.
One of the big concerns the Cowboys had was this double-A package. The 2 linebackers are going to sugar. Here this time it's Urlacher, and they're trying to create one-on-ones for Julius Peppers, number 90, and number 69, Henry Melton, who comes clean on a stunt. And that's one of the downsides of having a young left tackle. He hasn't seen a lot of full-speed stunts.
Devin Esker's the all-time NFL record man in terms of number of returns for touchdown. Brian Moorman is punting tonight for Dallas, and a good job by Moorman, who had an end-over-end. It's down at the 5. Moorman was the kicker for the Buffalo Bills. Bills cut him last week. The Cowboys punter Chris Jones is hurt. Moorman makes a good debut for Dallas. You know, the Cowboys owner Jerry Jones, his wife Jean, has done a great job with contemporary art, a great collection all around the interior Cowboys Stadium. And it's even added to with a different type of contemporary art, truisms. These started in Times Square by a woman named Jenny Holzer, and just these word messages are sent out throughout the stadium on a regular basis. Some of these truisms, part of the Dallas flair and the contemporary art. Great addition from Jean Jones here inside the stadium. Welcome back, Matt Forte. Boy, the Bears need him off the ankle injury, a run of 8 to start.
Well, I think Chicago needs to run Forte as many times as they can right at the Bears defense. Looks like he's hurt already. That ankle continues to frustrate Matt Forte, and that's a terrible sign because they are not the same football team without him. Not as a rushing team or passing team, picking up blitzes.
He got injured against Green Bay, and right away he said he felt really good after practice this week. So Michael Bush has to carry a much bigger load. Good back that they acquired in the offseason. And the former Raider is shy of the 20 for a first down. Forte told us wasn't going to wear anything special on that ankle. But as we know, high ankle sprains, if you've ever had one, just not right for a long period of time. As they watch him here.
Replay. Looks like he got rolled up on it pretty good, Mike.
Sean Lismore just kind of falls, much like Charles Woodson did when he got hurt. And those are lingering type injuries. Forte, helmet off, walking off the sideline. From the 19, Jay Cutler. Swing it right, it's high for the rookie Alshon Jeffrey. And incomplete.
Those are the throws Jay Cutler has to hit, especially early in the game. Mike Tice, the new offensive coordinator, wanted rhythm throws, high percentage passing early. That time a simple hitch route into the short side of the field. And Jay Cutler has missed some open targets uncharacteristically in the last couple weeks.
Here's Mike. He called plays briefly during that time in Minnesota, but hasn't called since, and hasn't called very often in his career. And Jay Cutler said it's taken some time to get used to each other, get used to Mike's play calling rhythm. Dancing is Michael Bush at the 22-yard line. We'll have 3rd and long coming up. Meantime, Forte getting a retape on that right ankle. We'll see what he can do if he tries to come back. This is one of those things where you're thinking tonight and then you're thinking the season. You can't really afford to have him keep re-injuring this ankle.
And the Cowboys have 4 cornerbacks on the field. Brandon Carr, who played a little bit of safety last week, is still out on the edge. But Mike Jenkins, number 21, in there as a free safety right now.
This is 3rd and 7, and the rush is 3, and it's Brandon Marshall. Good catch in traffic. That was tough to get. First down at the 35.
It's an excellent throw by Cutler, and Marshall just runs a quick lookie across Victor Butler's face. And fortunately for the Chicago Bears, inside linebacker number 50, Sean Lee, was working the other way, but that's where they wanted to get Marshall tonight, in the slot where it would be hard for the Cowboys to double him. Good move by Mike Tice early.
Bush, Sean Lee comes to meet him in the hole, and a gain of only 2. Let's talk about this Chicago offense. It'll be a little bit different. Michael Bush does a lot of good things, but he's not the pass catcher that Forte is, so that can impact what Chicago's offense looks like as the night goes on.
Not only that, they like to play Bush and Forte together in their stallion package that no longer exists. So look for Devin Hester. He just checked in. In every ball game, there's the Devin Hester package. Quick screens, reverses, and they have to get Devin Hester involved in this offense, especially with Forte out.
And a timeout taken by Cutler. 2nd and 7 coming up. You can learn more about the NFL's A Crucial Catch campaign, how you can help in the fight against breast cancer. Visit NFL.com/pink. And as has become tradition, ribbons on coaches, coaching staff, players, hats, gloves. So many things in pink in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. The swing out to Michael Bush. In the open field, he stretches past Brandon Carr for the first down at the 46-yard line.
Good work by Chicago and good pass protection early in the game. Jamarcus Webb at left tackle, and a one-on-one here against DeMarcus Ware holds up pretty good. Dallas must have blown the coverage, Mike. There's nobody outside. You don't want a corner making an open field tackle against a back like Bush all night, but not a bad job by Jamarcus Webb.
First and 10, and Cutler this time get it in the hands of Devin Hester. That package you talked about, John, but not much there, only a yard. DeMarcus Ware and Sean Lee, stars on that front 7 for Rob Ryan's defense, made the play. We talked about Ware at the open and all the things that he does, but there are injuries up front. There's no Jay Ratliff. There's no Kenyon Coleman. Those are 2 starters on the defensive front. There's no Anthony Spencer, the linebacker, who lines up with Lee and Bruce Carter. But Bruce Carter, 54, left the field 2 plays ago, so he's on the Dallas sideline. We're going to keep an eye on his injury status. Meantime, the Bears bring Matt Forte, right ankle retape, back on the field for 2nd and 9. Cutler setting up the screen for Forte, and it is Sean Lee with the eraser, loss of yards.
That's a great play by Lee, but the left guard, Rayshal, the center, Garza, have got to get the linebacker that's matching the screening back. You're going to see Rayshal, you're going to see Garza come out. Somebody has to get Sean Lee, who's responsible for this back in coverage. You can't let him split 2 offensive linemen. Great play by Sean Lee. Disappointing on the perimeter by these Bear linemen.
3rd and along, the running back, Michael Bush, is way up at the top of the screen. Flip to Hester quickly. Not going anywhere. The first-round pick, Morris Claiborne, off the corner. with a good play to force the punt from the Bears.
I like what they did there, getting the ball to Hester on a long yardage situation. But watch Claiborne. The only question I had was, will this young man be a great tackler? I don't know if he got away with a trip or not, Mike, but he got him down. And here's Des Bryant. He took one to the house 2 years ago against the Bears.
The last time the Bears allowed a punt return for touchdown, back in 2010, Adam Podlish is the kicker. Bears saw it bouncing back their way, so they down it. And it'll be Dallas ball at the 16-yard line. Brian Urlacher, the Chicago defense, back on the field. They let the Cowboys get 3 first downs first time around. Back at Cowboys Stadium, Statue of Liberty fits inside here. If you close the top, but the roof open a bit here tonight. Cowboys taking over inside their own 20 on their second drive.
Field position is going to be a huge part of this game all night long. Bears would love to force a 3 and out and set their offense up.
Marco Murray the back. Out of the backfield, he's got the catch on a first down. Murray showing great explosiveness as a pass receiver over these first couple of weeks. He's across the 35 on a gain of 20.
Well, Dallas is going to Des Bryant on a play-action post pattern. They're going to try and throw a post, but the linebacker reads it. Now watch Urlacher. Let's see how he runs down Murray. I still don't think Urlacher is 100%, but that's a great job by Romo getting to his check down and good pass protection.
On first down, that familiar Cowboy look, show and pass. Urlacher hits Murray first, and then Peppers helps close him down, so that's no gain. John, when I talked about that Tampa Bay game last week, anybody could see how sloppy it was from the start. And Jason Garrett said, hey, we get together with Tony, we're just going to kind of dumb this thing down, make it simple, less complicated at the line of scrimmage and snap counts as well.
Yeah, tired of the false starts and communication issues. The biggest thing is let's limit the counts, get up, get going, center make one call and snap the ball. That's what they're doing early in this game.
On 2nd and 10, Romo in the middle. It's Murray. Close the football, but it bounces right back to the center, Ryan Cook, who was on the spot. Since Lovie Smith has been the head coach, no team knocks the ball out and forces turnovers like the Bears, and they almost had one there on Murray.
Well, the Bears get a lot of credit for it, but they should give a lot of it to Lance Briggs. It's the old-fashioned Tampa, too. Urlacher's down the pipe, and watch Lance Briggs read Tony Romo's eyes, and he's going to go right to this check down and smash DeMarco Murray. Good effort by the team captain, Lance Briggs. Good hustle to the ball by Dallas.
Murray not a fumbler. He's only put it down once in 259 touches before that fumble that was recovered by his center Cook. 3rd and 5. The Bears back out. They don't blitz. Romo threw it to Des Bryant, who wasn't ready for it. He wanted a flag as Charles Tillman was involved. No flag. 4th down.
Des Bryant needs to start making these plays. 3rd down, possession down, back shoulder fade. And once again, they're not on the same page. It's Tillman versus Bryant. Ball's thrown perfectly on the back shoulder. Des didn't get his eyes out of the break.
And you saw Tillman as he went across, swiped the front of the face mask. That's what Bryant was complaining about. Hester back for the kick, took a look, decides to take it from the 21. Hester slips and falls, and he was very close to a small Devin Hester alley as a flag comes in the back end of the play. Boy, Devin Hester had a sense that he could get that crease and come up the left sideline. Of course, as you know, the regular officials are back. Walt Anderson.
During the return, illegal block in the back, number 58, receiving team. 10-yard penalty, first down, timeout.
So Geno Hayes, the backup linebacker, with the penalty, long field for the Bears when we come back. No score. It expected to be a defensive battle. This man's been to 6 straight Pro Bowls, twice the sack leader in the National Football League. DeMarcus Ware, a great player who's been helped to that greatness by tremendous coaching along the way.
Boy, has he ever. Forget that he's a great kid also, but when you get a chance to work with Bill Parcells, think of the fundamentals and the techniques that a young man can learn from Bill Parcells, one of the masters of the 3-4. And Wade Phillips, he taught DeMarcus Ware to go get the quarterback, and he's really good at doing that. And now he's playing for Rob Ryan, who's really given Ware that swagger you got to have as a great professional pass rusher. But great kid, great talent, great coaching, and he's unleashed it for a long time, Mike.
Who was the great coach he had in the Senior Bowl?
Hey, I discovered him in the Senior Bowl 2005. Wasn't smart enough to draft him, though.
Coming out of
That's
Troy.
another story.
Yeah, small school, coming out of Troy, and made a very big impact as the Cowboys took him 11th in that 05 draft. 103 sacks in his career. His Forte back in testing that ankle for a gain of just a yard. Dan Connor, the tackle. Connor for the injured Bruce Carter.
And one of the things you have to do as an outside backer is set the edge. Do not let the ball outside of you. Force it back inside where your help is. And DeMarcus Ware, I'm sure, learned a lot of that from Bill Parcells. But don't underestimate DeMarcus Ware as a run defender. He knows if he can knock the run out, he gets 2 more chances to rush the passer, which he's known for.
Winding down the first quarter. Cutler using that rocket arm for his tight end, Kellen Davis, and incomplete.
Well, Kellen Davis continues to struggle. Nobody completes less passes to the tight ends than the Chicago Bears. But take a look at number 89 for the Chicago Bears, Matt Spaeth. Give Jamarcus Ware help, Jamarcus Webb help against Ware. But Kellen Davis has got to make some plays in the middle of the field for this Bear pass offense.
Cowboys rush 4. Cutler steps up, chased by Ware, and he goes down. It's no sack. Across the line, but 4th down.
Too deep, man-to-man underneath, nowhere for Cutler to go. And if you give DeMarcus Ware 1 more second, he's going to find a quarterback and bring him down. Great player. Great Cowboy. He'll be in the rafters up here with Lilly, Meredith, Howley, all the others soon, Mike.
And we saw his impact on that whole series. The run stopping started, got the chance to rush the passer. For the 2nd straight week, after 1, no quarter on Monday Night Football, no score. Scoreless opening quarter here in Dallas. Mike Tirico, John Gruden, Lisa Salters, technically in Arlington, Texas, 20 minutes west of Dallas. There is Des Bryant. Wait for the Padres punt. And Dallas will have a chance with the 3 and out to get decent field position out of this. Just let it bounce and 5 more yards on the Padres kick. So it'll be about 53 yards as Dallas takes over.
Well, it's one thing to have corners. It's another thing to use them. There's Claiborne. Over here is Skandrick, Carr, and they put Mike Jenkins, another first-rounder, back here at safety. They're going to play too deep with man-to-man underneath. There's nowhere for Jay Cutler to throw the football. Rob Ryan has done a great job adjusting his scheme to utilize these corners. And he's playing 4 at a time. Give this guy credit. He's playing without Spencer, playing without Ratliff. Carter's down. He loses Barry Church. He's going to get his 11 best players on the field and use them. Right now they happen to be corners.
Church, the only one out for the season with the Achilles injury. First down to Romo over the middle. Des Bryant hangs on there at the 42. The first down gain of 16.
That's more like it with Des Bryant. It's an isolation fake right at the linebacker. They're going to get him to step up and throw a post pattern right to Des Bryant behind him in the area that's voided. Good pass protection. Good, quick, early down play pass, and a nice job by Bryant going and getting the football.
This came on the second half. He was a little annoyed on the sideline in the first half. 100% after laying out for that last one. As he sits, Murray runs. Marker gets about 4 yards. As Lance Brigham's there for the tackle. So, John, last year, It was the St. Louis game. He had 253 yards. Felix Jones had the ankle injury, and boom, DeMarco Murray, it's your team in terms of being the running back. And now Dallas expanding his package, checking his receiving ability, see if he can become more of an all-around back as the number one.
Oh, he's taken over completely for Felix Jones. They want to hand the ball to Murray, they want to throw it to Murray, and they don't want Murray off the field right now, ever.
Felix somewhat invisible right now. Bryant, second catch in front of Tillman. It's a first down inside the 45-yard line, gain of 10.
Off coverage by Charles Tillman, and Tillman usually matches up with the bigger of the two receivers. That beat Des Bryant. Just a simple hitch pattern. Nice tackle in the open field with help coming by Tillman. But Tony Romo is reading these disguises by the Chicago Bears easily. When they're in 3-deep zone, he's throwing the ball quickly to the outside. When it's 2 deep, he's content to hand the ball to Murray.
Tree comes around as a ghost, and Nick Roach is there to run into DeMarco Murray and stop it for no gain. So John, let's take a step back here for a second. Think about what Dallas has done so far. First 17 minutes, first 17 plays of this game. They've gotten Witten a couple of catches, get his confidence going. They've given the ball to Murray out of the backfield and in the passing game. Jason Garrett's got it to Des Bryant. So the guys who need to be involved early are. It's a good sign.
And there's been no penalties, which is a very good sign. Now Dallas needs to finish a drive.
Romo pressured up the middle, hit as he threw. Ogletree comes down with it. It's at the 40-yard line. Amobi Okoye, former first-round pick of the Houston Texans, came busted through the middle.
These are the things that don't show up on a QB rating sheet. It's Tony Romo throwing the football with the defensive tackle Amobi Okoye beating down on him. I mean, it's hard to throw a football like that, Mike. Tremendous work by Ogletree going up to get it, but the way Romo stands in the pocket, it's uncommon in terms of just not having any fear. Great work.
Felix Jones in 3rd and 4. Matched up with Briggs on that far side, and Romo goes towards Bryant, who had a step on Tillman, but couldn't hit him, and it's 4th down. See if they go for a long field goal here.
Tony Romo sends the back out of the backfield in motion, and he knows the linebacker went with him. He's got man-to-man coverage with Des Bryant. So all he's going to do is throw a high fade to Bryant, look off the free safety, and Tony just missed him. But they use the motion to get the coverage read. Right now, Des Bryant's running hot. I'm sure Romo regrets that one.
Field goal would have been 56 yards. Dan Bailey's career long is 51. So Mormon kicks it towards the sideline, and it's down at the 6. So they said Brian Mormon in Buffalo, not directional kicking well enough. We're going to move on. So he comes here in Dallas. He's had 2 very good punts to get started. John Brian Mormon got here Wednesday, and he's learning the scheme of the Cowboys' directional kicking.
How about this? Here's the center. 5 Cowboys to the left, an unbalanced punting formation. This special teams coach, Joe DeCamillis of the Cowboys, you can tell he's done it for 20 years.
At Forte is the back, injured on his first carry on that right ankle. Hasn't done much since he's returned. And Jason Hatcher leading the Dallas charge for no gain on first down. The second straight drive that a good Mormon punt has put Chicago back at its own 6-yard line. And you've been telling us all week, watch the field position in this game. It's going to be huge.
No question. Both these head coaches know it. Turnover battle, field position, going to be huge. If you can get a 3 and out on defense, when the other team's offense is backed up, you set yourself up.
Initially from the 7, here's Brandon Marshall. Galloping across the middle, Marshall. 18-yard first down, Danny McCray the tackle.
3-step drop, slant route. They told me the West Coast offense was dwindling. I think not. Just a slant route coming to your right side. Watch Jay Cutler, 3-step, bam! How about that throw? And Brandon Marshall can run with the rock after he catches it. I love the way he snatches the ball, puts it away, and finishes.
Forte to the right. Turns the corner. Matt Forte, a good run of 10. As McCray brings him down just shy of the first down, it looks. But we talk about Brandon Marshall, John, 3-time Pro Bowler, back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons with Miami, over 100 catches, a couple of times with Denver. But we know he's talented but troubled. Lovie Smith said he has been great. And Lovie even said, I wouldn't lie to you. I'd say, yeah, he's been all right. No, he's been great so far. He's had many run-ins with the law. We could take 10 minutes and detail all the legal situations he's been in. Last year he was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder early, but so far, first month, so good in Chicago. Second and short, Cutler launching downfield for Devin Hester. Couldn't get over the ball. Hester can get there. Cutler can get it there. But Danny McCray and Morris Claiborne were along for the ride.
I'm not sure Devin Hester expected the football. It's second down is short. And you know this quarterback, Jay Cutler, has that gunslinger mentality. But I thought Hester slowed down. It's a double move. Maybe not. I just didn't see Devin Hester turn it on like you normally do. But Jay Cutler clearly wanted to go after number 40, Danny McCray.
Third and short, extra offensive lineman Chris Spencer in for Chicago. He's blocking as Bush runs up the middle. Submarine, but he got the first down across the 35.
Very impressive by Bush. You need a big back that can make the tough yards, and Michael Bush has done that throughout his career. Hard to believe Bush was a great high school quarterback that went to Louisville to play quarterback with a body like this. But he's a very valuable Chicago Bear. Remember last year when Forte got hurt, they did not have a complimentary back. They do this year.
Hey, Bobby Petrino was at Louisville then. Promised him he could be a quarterback. Then he recruited Brian Brom. Bush became a running back. Forte, open field from Matt to midfield. First down, ankle looked okay there. Gain of 14 for Forte.
You know, when you run these A-gap blitzes and you stand these two linebackers up in these gaps, you're vulnerable to the zone stretch play. Watch the center, watch the left guard. Easily knock these two linebackers down. I like what Forte's done, sore ankle or not. Matt Forte's a great back, and before you know it, he's going to catch a pass.
Big block by Shotlow Rachel. 62 on that play. Midfield, Cutler taking a shot towards Alshon Jeffrey, who went out of bounds and tried to get back in. The pass is incomplete.
I want to see why Jerry Jones moved up to draft Morris Claiborne. Here he is against Alshon Jeffries. These two guys, I'm sure, went at it in the SEC.
Yes, they did.
But Claiborne can cover. He's got tremendous ball skills. He's yet to get an interception. But the one thing the Jim Thorpe Award winner had at LSU was uncanny ball skills. He's due for an interception. You watch. Great young prospect.
Opposite divisions of the SEC. One in the East, South Carolina, Jeffrey. Claiborne in the West, LSU. Second down, Sanzenbacher, who's active tonight because Earl Bennett is out. And Orlando Scandrick, who's the nickel corner, breaks that one up. It'll be third down.
All these corners are first-round draft choices. Claiborne, Jenkins. Brandon Carr got $50 million to come here from Kansas City. But a kid that makes a lot of the plays is Orlando Scandrick in the slot. And Rob Ryan will tell you he's as valuable to this Cowboy defense as anyone. Big third down. This is where the Cowboys have been 100% all year. They love to rush three. Rarely will you see a blitz in this situation.
Showing. They only do bring the three. Cutler gets away, making a play on the run. It's caught by the tight end Davis. Gain of 16. First down, Chicago.
It's Jay Cutler. I told you he's like Josie Wales, Tirico, the gunslinger. They're going to double Matt Forte. There's nowhere to go with the football. Here comes number 57, Butler. He shakes a tackle, and he finds a way to get a first down, but he's a big, strong, explosive athlete, and Jay Cutler is at his best when plays break down.
And his tight end made a play for him. Devin Hester in. The 34 goes once again to Forte, and we have a whistle to kill the play.
Before the snap, false start, number 89, offense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
That's Matt Spaeth, who's the other tight end, Mackey Award winner out of Minnesota 6 years ago.
Been an impressive drive by Chicago, Mike. They started at their own 6-yard line. They've had good balance. Some nice runs by Forte, a good short yardage conversion. Jay Cutler makes a great play on 3rd down and 10. Now they don't want to stymie this drive with offensive penalties.
And we were talking about the field position battle, and of course, that's important in every game. But you thought it was extra important because Ryan's defense is so good, so is Rod Marinelli and Lovie Smith on the other side. Points tough to come by, and we have a timeout taken by the Chicago sideline as the play clock was running down. Second charge timeout to the Bears. Mike Tirico, John Gruden, Lisa Salters, our Monday night team. Great to have our annual visit. This spectacular stadium, the gem of the NFL. Out of the Chicago called timeout. From the 39, it's Cutler. Deep drop. Flings it complete to Marshall. So Marshall targeted often with a flag very late back in the secondary. If it stands, it's a gain of 8.5.
This is going to be against Dallas, I think. Some illegal contact, but Cutler did a great job sliding to his left and finding Marshall.
You see the preliminary from Walt Anderson. Could be 2nd and 1.5 yards. The 1st and 5.
Illegal contact, number 39, defense. That's a 5-yard penalty from the previous spot, first down.
Take a look at Brandon Carr. There's Jeffries, number 17, and you see the contact by Carr. He's going to have his hands full tonight. Mostly a zone cover 2 corner in Kansas City. He's doing it all and really showcasing his versatility as a Cowboy. But Brandon Marshall presents a lot of problems for any defensive back.
Carr just played on the right side in Kansas City and learned the left side during the offseason with high school kids in the Kansas City area after he signed as a free agent with Dallas. So 1st and 5 and Forte with that seam on the left pass, sensible to safety. And it's Carr to bring him down to the sideline.
They love this formation. 2 tight ends, 2 receivers, and Jay Cutler hands the ball to Forte away from where the Cowboys are. That time Forte slashed off the left side, Sensabaugh missed the tackle, and if Chicago can stay in 2nd down in normal situations, the sting of this play action pass stays there all night. I'm impressed with their 1st down runs tonight.
My mistake of the 1st and 5 was 1st and 10, now 2nd and 5. And Forte with a shotgun run. Sean Lee meets him and brings him down a yard shy of the 1st down. Sean Lee was the 2nd-round pick out of Penn State. Now his 3rd year in the league. And we talked to him this week, and John, you just love what a cerebral, intelligent linebacker he is.
More than that, I love the way he gets off blocks and makes tackles. Against Seattle earlier this year, they were losing the game convincingly. This young man continued to play, 21 tackles. Sean Lee starts reminding you of Leroy Jordan, Mike. He's all over the field, and he has that Cowboy work ethic this franchise is known for.
For Spencer again, lead blocking. Bush this time can't get there. Josh Brent got around the outside. We're in a tight game inside of 5 minutes. Do you go for the field goal to get points on the board, or 4th and 1? I'll go for the field goal. There goes Robbie Gould out there.
Well, Robbie Gould hasn't missed in quite some time, but that's a big stop by this Cowboy defense. Remember, they're missing Ratliff, Coleman. Some of those young players have really stepped up. Lismore, Brent, who you pointed out, great work.
And the hold Adam Podlish, Robbie Gould. From 43 in the game's first points by one of the most accurate kickers in NFL history. 13 plays, 69 yards, getting Chicago the first points of the night. 13 plays, 69 yards. Bears go down the field for a field goal. Jay Cutler was very frustrated during that series. The plays were coming in late. We mentioned Mike Tice getting back to a rhythm of calling plays, and they go to discuss on the sideline, and Jay's not saying to talk about it at all. He gets up and and gets away. They've got a lot to figure out here as an offensive staff.
Well, they got to work together. No matter how the game is going, Jay Cutler's got to work with his offensive coordinator. That goes without saying.
Felix Jones, no return. Dallas takes over at its own 20. 4:15 till the half. Julius Peppers and the Bears pitching a shutout so far. Carolina took him with the second overall pick in 2002. This is now Julius Peppers' third year with the Bears, and they're using him in unique ways.
Well, in 19 plays, I've seen him play right defensive end. There he is, left defensive end. I've seen him play inside at right defensive tackle. I've also seen him play left defensive tackle. And defensive coordinator Rod Marinelli is going to set this rush plan up differently every week. Different matchups, different stunts, and different rotations. But there's the star of the show, Julius Peppers. So far, Dallas has done a decent job containing him, but they have nothing to show for it. There's Rod Marinelli, the guru of the pass rushers.
It's down for the Cowboys from the 20, and Romo with a deep drop. He loads up and throws to Witten, gain of 5 with Chris Conti, the safety cover.
Left tackle Tyron Smith does a nice job in pass protection against Peppers. Speed rush to the outside. Tony steps up, finds Witten on a shallow cross. And I like this safety for the Chicago Bears, Chris Conti, who's in tight coverage, makes a good tackle on Jason Witten, who's caught the ball well tonight, Mike. That's his third catch.
All 3 times that Romo's gone to him, drops, false start penalties, very atypical of Witten the last couple of weeks. 3.5 until the half. That quick toss. Murray lost the football. Got to get on it. Trying to keep the play alive. Peppers chasing down. And he runs right into that safety, Conti, that you mentioned. It'll be a loss of 5.
It's Charles Tillman. I tell you what, he's one of the most fearless corners in football. He ends up making that tackle. He missed it once, got it on his second effort, but Murray just drops the toss. He's going to cut this thing back, and Tillman's going to miss the tackle. Tillman's going to get up, stay alive, and hop over Bears to try to punch the ball out. Charles Tillman is going for the ball with punches, rakes, strips. He's trying to get in there to get that ball every snap. I love watching him play.
Peppers is lined up over one of the guards. 3 defensive ends are rushing. Conti is blitzing, and the pass is intercepted. And it's Charles Tillman, and he's all the way home for a Chicago touchdown.
Got to put that feather in Rod Marinelli and Lovie Smith's cap. This Charles Tillman has generated more turnovers than any corner in football, maybe other than Rondé Barber, but it's a blitz. And I don't know if Des Bryant blows the side adjustment or not. But Charles Tillman has the easiest score of his NFL career. I think Bryant's supposed to convert this to a hitch. I'll be surprised if you look down on the sideline if Tony Romo's not having a discussion with Des Bryant right now. Charles Tillman, Pro Bowl corner last year, physical, tackling, turnover machine.
You got it. There you go, John. You read that exactly right. Extra point added by Robbie Gould. Chris Conti comes on a blitz. The pressure comes. Tillman had it thrown right in his hands.
Miscommunications will kill you. And Bryant and Romo had too many conversations in the last couple of years.
10-0 Bears on a Tillman pick 6. John mentioned on the other side of the break, Peanut, as he's known, Charles Tillman. He's no Peanut at 6'2", 200 pounds. He's a turnover machine. 31st interception. Closing in on Gary Fensick's Bears record, he has 38. His 6th pick 6. That extends his own Chicago record. And I didn't even mention the forced fumbles he has.
Yeah, yes, 30 of those.
Tony Romo saw Des Bryant, his receiver, looks what appeared to be, to us, a mental mistake, and it cost him 6 points.
Oh, when they blitz a linebacker and a safety, it forces a side adjustment. He points to Lance Briggs. He says, hey, side adjust this if the free safety comes with Briggs, and we'll be off and running. I think Bryant got the hand signal. He nodded his head. I just don't think he ran the conversion. He's either supposed to run a slant or a hitch.
saw the touchdown, and then you see the conversation that ensues afterwards with Romo and Bryant.
Well, that's a nightmare if you're an offensive coordinator in the regular season and you turn around and see your quarterback and wideout doing that.
2:38, Dallas full complement of timeouts. Romo spinning out of there, throws underneath DeMarco Murray for hard yards.
But if they bring, one more time, Mike, they bring the free safety, they bring the inside linebacker, the wide receiver, the quarterback must be on the same page. And let's see if Dallas can regroup here. Plenty of time left. Let's see if they can get something before the break.
Bears get the ball to start the third quarter. Rushing three, Romo seeking something. He finds Witt. Fourth catch for Jason. At a first down gain of 11. 2-minute warning here in Texas. The Cowboys offense continuing to struggle. Toyota halftime show coming up. Chris Berman as Chris Portins and Adam Schefter along. We'll listen into some of the sounds, not good sounds of the Jets yesterday. Drew Brees and that quest for Johnny Unitas' mark of consecutive games with a touchdown pass. And the news and notes of the Santonio Holmes injury, big story for the Jets, among others. Portins and Adam will be with you for the Toyota halftime show with Chris coming up in 2 minutes. All replays triggered upstairs. Blitz is coming. Romo tries to screen behind it with Murray. Got past Urlacher. Peppers chases him down. What a run by Peppers to limit the game.
I'll say. DeMarco Murray in the open field on a screen is nasty, scary to a defense. But Julius Peppers showcased great effort in running that play down.
And Dallas should be in no huddle, hurry up offense mode. The center, Ryan Cook, got tangled up on that play. He was headed towards the sideline and then circles back for the snap. He's a little dinged. Pass caught by Bryant underneath, and Dez keeps grinding. You got to hold on to the ball with DJ Moore trying to pull it out. Gain of 13 and a first down. Timeout taken with 1:21 to go until halftime. First down, Cowboys in their territory, down 10. Dallas has it first down, Chicago 48. That helmet of Urlacher. Knee may not be right, but that heart and soul of the Chicago defense right next to 55. Double nickel Lance Briggs right up there over the center. Will they blitz? No, they back out. Romo throws underneath. There's the first catch of the night for Miles Austin to the 36-yard line.
Bears continue to show pressure and bail out of there. That time Miles Austin comes on a little under route. Nice catch and run.
See Romo on the drive on the night. He's 14 of 17. Backpedaling and just getting rid of it as he drifts back and throws incomplete. Getting himself out of the tackle box as Corey Wooten puts some pressure on.
You know, Corey Wooten looks like a young Julius Peppers. That time he wanted a holding call. But Wooten is a young man that's really come on. Here's the guy that sacked Brett Favre a couple years ago, really on Brett Favre's last play as a pro football player. He's had some injury problems, but from a height, weight, looking standpoint, he does look like a young Julius Peppers, and they're really pleased with his progress right here.
It's good to have someone else who looks like that. Sure, that's an unbelievable specimen. Peppers, 6'7", 280. Second and 10. Wooten's rushing bottom of the screen. Romo runs away from him. Throws on the run to Austin. Miles spun down at the 16. That's Romo on the run with an accurate throw again.
Well, rookie Shea McClellan made a big mistake there. They said contain Tony Romo. Do not let him outside the pocket. Romo's as dangerous as Aaron Rodgers on the edge. That time he really hurt Chicago.
One timeout left for Dallas. 46 seconds left. First time in the red zone for Romo and the Cowboys. Chris Conte, the starting safety for the Bears, is hurt. Greg Stelz, number 20, is in the game. From the 17, Romo stepping up into the traffic. Hey, backed out somehow. Here's Dez Bryant. At the 10, he'll be taken down there. Gain of 7, 35 seconds left. Injured Bear, slow to get up. Peppers hobbling back to the line. Bears making substitutions. It's 2nd and 2, and the clock is spinning down to 20. Timeout taken Chicago. as Peppers limps towards the Bears training staff and sideline.
Tony Romo's had a excellent drive here for the Dallas Cowboys. You got to admire a quarterback that throws an interception for a touchdown. You're down 10 points. The game is going fast. You got to rally your football team. But Tony Romo has stood in here in the teeth of the rush, and you better contain him because he's most dangerous when he gets outside on the perimeter. But Romo's done a nice job in this drive, keeping plays alive. And none of this is really by design, Mike. But Dallas needs to get a touchdown. They've only scored 5 offensive touchdowns all season. They came in here last in pro football, just over 15 points a game. Need to get some points for sure. But boy, I know Jason Garrett wants to put 7 on the board. Watch out for Witten right here in the red zone. It's been a while, but Jason Witten in these trips formation is normally the guy Tony Romo looks for.
2nd and 2 with 1 timeout left. Romo engaged Miles. Austin reaches and in touchdown Dallas Cowboys.
Jason Witten draws a crowd, and Miles Austin comes right underneath the Pro Bowl tight end for a walk-in touchdown. Great drive by the Dallas Cowboys, and Tony Romo made some individual plays in that drive that were exceptional.
Romo did all of the 80 yards through the air, 8 of 9 on that drive. New holder for Dan Bailey because the punter was the holder. We mentioned Mormon's the new punter. No problem there. 10-7, 3-point Chicago lead.
Jason Witten runs right down the seam. You love to see the big tight end in these double zone coverages, but they carry the vertical. You see Urlacher carry Witten up the field. Right underneath him comes Austin. Touchdown Cowboys. Nice design by Jason Garrett and his coaching staff. But when you have a tight end like Jason Witten that can draw a double, you're going to get some pretty good looks underneath for big receivers that can run with the ball after they catch it. And Miles Austin is coming off a 100-yard game last week against Tampa. That's a good sign for the Cowboys.
24th time Tony Romo's hit Miles Austin. I want to talk about Romo for a minute. We talked to him yesterday, or 2 nights ago, I should say, about all the hits he takes, the beating he takes. And he said what he's learned is to go back and watch, and when adversity hits, don't get faster. Because he felt that was something he did. Don't press. Don't try to make something happen. Remember, each play is almost in an individual silo. Go to the next play. And that's a veteran talking. And that was a veteran's action after it looked like Des Bryant dumped on him on that hot. Made it happen. 10-7. Devin Hester back deep. That's why they kick it short. Got to fall on it, though. The ball's live, and Wooten does. Back at the 27-yard line.
You know, Mike, how excited we are about Monday Night Football. We've had a great history here. Some of the greatest announcers of all time. Look at this beautiful monitor. I mean, Howard Cosell, Don Meredith, Frank Gifford, they did it over 100 times.
Bad.
And then we had the great Dan Dierdorf. Look at Al Michaels, over 100 appearances. But tonight, Mike Tirico's 100th appearance on Monday Night Football. You started when you were a little kid. I got pictures of you here when you were a rookie announcer back at Syracuse. You got your football right there. But my favorite picture is when you were calling games at your house in Queens, New York. The only problem was when your friends came over, you wouldn't let them be the color guy. You only let us do the commercials because you were an airspace hog. But you are the best at what you do.
Thank you, pal.
Proud to have you as my friend, man. Congratulations. 100 games on Monday Night Football.
Get this out
Look
of
at
here.
that guy.
Stop it. I'm proud
I'm
of
going to get you a Gruden Gridiron shirt, man.
Proud of all the people who've done our first 100 games with us as well. Ball belongs to the Bears. Start the third quarter. 10-7 at the half. Here's Puma. Toyota halftime show. Chris?
King James.
He's watching us.
Did my Celtics wrong, man.
I think he's watching the Cowboys, not you.
We're going to have a good second half. Let's be honest. We're going to have a very good second half. Beware of Devin Hester. He loves Monday Night Football, Mike. 5 of them have come back in prime times on Monday Night Football.
He has 18 total returns for touchdown. 12 on punts, 5 on kickoffs, 1 on a missed field goal. The NFL all-time record, Deion Sanders, who had 19, including 9 on interceptions. Nobody's brought back more kicks than Hester, and he's one away from the all-time returns for touchdown. Will he get a chance here? Yep, he will. From 3 yards deep, here comes Hester with a head of steam, and Devin Hester well covered by the Cowboys. As the kicker, Bailey, was down there, stopped him shy of the 30. Here's Lisa Salters.
Hey, Mike, well, I was talking to Jason Garrett, and he told me that they didn't have any problems moving the ball in that first half, but the reason why they didn't score until that last drive was because of third down conversions. He said we had some manageable ones, and we just didn't convert. Got to do a better job there. But he did say that he liked the way his team came back from the turnover. He said got them right back in it. As for Lovie Smith and the Bears, Smith told me that he was pleased until that last Cowboy drive. He said we had the momentum and we let it get away. We did a good job for most of the half containing Romo. Then we missed a bunch of tackles and he hurt us. Mike?
All right, Lisa, thank you. His offense, 8 first downs in that first half, led by Cutler. Matt Forte re-injured that ankle early, retaped, and he's back out there. Cutler throws complete to Alshon Jeffrey. That's the rookie out of South Carolina, and a gain of 11 for first down.
That's a nice job by Jay Cutler, stepping up in the pocket. You see why they like the 6'3" Jeffries, the rookie out of South Carolina. But he's going to throw it right underneath Bruce Carter, the linebacker, who's back in the lineup. Had a hip injury in the first half. Good to see him back, but nice work in the pocket by Jay Cutler, and that's good work by Alshon Jeffries, a receiver they like here.
It's good receivers South Carolina's turned out, other than Sterling Sharp. Better say that. We both know Sterling. We know our phone will blow up quickly. He was a great one there. Run by Forte, just a yard or two. John, when we look at these halftime numbers and what the teams did in that first half, Chicago didn't abandon the run at all. They stayed with it, and at times they moved the ball down the field because of their ability to run.
Yes, they did, and Forte's been in and out of the lineup. I think it compromised the Bears for a couple possessions, but Forte has 8 carries for 44 yards. Bush has carried it 5 times for just 13, but a couple key short yardage conversions.
Second and 8. A lot of fans settling back into their seats, so not a ton of crowd noise for Cutler to deal with. And Jay has time. That cannon got on Jeffrey quick, but Alshon hangs on. In Dallas territory, first down at the 44, gain of 16.
Strange route that time by Jeffries. They got him one-on-one with Sensabaugh, number 43, a safety who's been out with some injuries, but they do a nice job chipping on Ware on the left side and gives Cutler plenty of time to throw the football, but it's the protection. Watch number 86, Kyle Adams, a tight end, hunkering down, helping out the best way he can, but they got 2 men on DeMarcus Ware, and Jeffrey made a nice play.
Ware got around Webb that time, but still the Cutler strike to Brandon Marshall, complete for the first down. Uncommon talent with that absolute strong arm, Jay Cutler.
You keep this kid protected, Cutler can make all the throws, and Brandon Marshall is having no problem catching the football. These balls are thrown perfectly on a rope. Devin Hester back in the ball game. This is when they like to use Hester on quick screens, arounds. Devin Hester is always a factor in some way, shape, or form on offense.
Cutler rolls it, throws. Hester breaks free. Devin Hester, touchdown, Chicago Bears.
Yeah, he just double moved the rookie Claiborne and shredded him. Stutter, go, post. And Devin Hester can play. Watch Jay Cutler come out of this fake under duress off his back foot and just flick it 41 yards for 6. But Devin Hester, watch the route. Stutter, go, get back to the post, and Claiborne had no chance. Devin Hester can help you a lot of different ways. I knew it was just a matter of time. Let's see if he got that ball in his belly.
It's against his body and not moving, so even though it makes contact with the ground, since it's a scoring play, there's a little bit of question. They're going to look at it.
The ruling on the field is a touchdown. Previous play is under further review.
It had been nearly a year since Hester caught a receiving touchdown. Will it stand? Review coming. Walt Anderson has had a look in review, the automatic scoring review, and here's the result.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Touchdown.
And we'll bring in our colleague Jerry Austin. Just Jerry, why confirmed a touchdown?
Well, the ball did touch the ground, but as you can see, the receiver has his right hand on the ball. His control of the ball with his hands never changed, even though the ball moved up. He had control before he went to the ground. He kept control after the ball touched the ground. That makes it a catch.
And therefore a touchdown. Thank you, Jerry. Walt Anderson looked under the hood. It's confirmed. Robbie Gould the extra point. And Chicago takes a 17-7 lead. That's exactly what you want to do coming out of the locker room at halftime. Go down the field that way. Devin Hester. He had a look on the big screen. Do you think you had it, Devin? I'm sure you're going to tell us yes. And you did. Touchdown. His defense has been pretty stout. Nobody's thrown a touchdown pass on him until that wide receiver catch by Hester from Jay Cutler. And Chicago's taken 10-point lead for the second time tonight. You see Cutler was great on that drive. Completions of 11, 16, 10, and a 34-yard touchdown. No return for Felix Jones. Gunslinger?
Well, he is a gunslinger. Just watch some of these throws for yourself. Off his back foot, Marshall. Great protection, Jeffrey. Sliding to his left. What a throw to Marshall on a crossing route. I don't know about this music. I kind of feel like I'm on a hayride, but there's a back foot 41-yard flick to Devin Hester. What a drive by Jay Cutler to answer Tony Romo and the Cowboys.
Now Romo's turn from the 20. It's DeMarco Murray trying to get away from Israel Adonijah and only gains a yard and a half. Well, here are the numbers for these quarterbacks so far. Romo, 4 incompletions, one of them a pick, one of them a drop by Des Bryant. Overall, both have been very good, and their offensive lines, they've been under a little more duress, but overall, John, how would you say the O-lines have played?
I think they played well. They've done a nice job, I think, throwing the quick game, running the ball, using the play-action pass in premier situations. They kept the offensive line out of harm's way.
2nd and 9 underneath. Here comes Ogletree. Nice move around DJ Moore, but he couldn't gain more yardage as Charles Tillman was waiting for him. He actually lost about a yard after the catch.
I'd like to see Ogletree get north and south after the catch. You can't run east and west. Good protection. You see Smith on the left side. Free got run over a little bit on the right side, but when you catch the football against a zone defense, don't go east and west. Go north and south and get all you can.
It turns into 3rd and 5, and that first rounder is Shea McClellan, 99, pass rusher, bottom of your screen for the Bears. Trying to work on the inside as Romo goes the other way, finds Witten. Good night for Jason so far. To the 39, Chris Conti. Hurt in the first half, is back in. Made the tackle.
The Bears have 3 defensive ends on the field, and you're going to see a stunt. But watch Tony Romo take this shotgun snap. And again, push up in the pocket, get out to his left, and hit Jason Witten. And that's a 4th catch by Witten. He does a nice job on a nice basic cross, uncovering, catching the ball in his hands. Big first down for Dallas.
180.
John Phillips, the extra tight end, is in. He's protecting as Romo throws to Des Bryant. Explodes in the secondary to the 35. It's 26 for Des.
Well, I love this play-action passing attack of Jason Garrett, Tony Romo. You're going to see slide across the formation, eliminate the linebackers, fake the ball to Murray, and throw a nice square into an uncovered Des Bryant. Beautiful execution. And Des Bryant continues to show the talent he has. He just needs to put it all together.
Romo sideline. Des got it. Inbounds in the right zone of the 16 with words for Conti.
That's just great touch by Tony Romo. Sometimes you got to drive the football into a tight window. Other times you got to lay it over one defender and underneath another. You can't throw the ball any better than Tony Romo just threw it. But I can't tell you how impressed I am with the Cowboys' pass protection. Offensive line coach Bill Callahan's got to feel real good about his unit so far.
Peppers off the field. The 16, that flip to Murray. What a play by Nick Roach. There is another linebacker that goes with Briggs and Urlacher. And Nick Roach out of Northwestern. Guy was undrafted, made the Chargers. He was cut, ended up signing in Chicago. Now for 4 years he's been around. He plays some good ball for the Bears.
Yeah, Chicago must have some scouts that live in Evanston, Illinois, and Nashville, Tennessee. There's more Northwestern Wildcats and Vanderbilt Commodores here than most teams.
And 4 Vandy guys. Got McManus, Roach on his defense from Evanston, just north of Chicago. 2nd and 12, Romo off the hands of Ogletree, intercepted by Major Wright. So that Bear defense, that turnover forcing machine, comes up with a big hit, and on the deflection, Wright is there for his 2nd interception of the season.
That's old reliable Bear cover 2. And Tim Jennings, the Gruden grinder, is Johnny on the spot.
About that Bears defense, another pick, 5th of his career for Major Wright, 3rd-round pick out of Florida a few seasons ago. And Tony Romo got down there in the red zone. He hit his receiver in the hands. You got to make those tight catches. And now it's Des Bryant over to console Romo.
Big drive for the Cowboy defense. They've got to get the ball right back to Romo quick.
3rd time the Bears tonight have started at their own 6-yard line. Cutler out of his own end zone finds Brandon Marshall with a bunch of room to run. And a lot of Bear fans here tonight cheering as Marshall gains 25. And the Bears look like a different offense in the 2nd half.
Well, it's a blitz. And Marshall just runs a little spot route. He's going to sit down right and face Jay Cutler, and there's nobody home. You see DeMarcus Ware in pursuit. He overran the play. But when you start blitzing the Chicago Bears, this year they've got Brandon Marshall on one side and Jeffrey on the other, and they can hurt you real bad.
Number 31 here is Forte. Carter and Lee, the Cowboy linebackers, make the tackle, John.
Well, the Romo interception just a minute ago, it's the same play that they hit Miles Austin on in the first half, but this time they cover Austin and they go to Ogletree, but you see Jennings, tighten coverage. He sees the quarterback all the way. Maybe Ogletree should have caught this football, but when you play zone defense, everybody in the secondary has vision of the football. They create turnovers better than any team in pro football since Lovie Smith has arrived in Chicago. Great work.
2nd and 7. Marshall over there stops as a flag was thrown with some movement.
Prior to the snap, ball start, number 15, offense. 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
Brandon with the flag. John, you saw that ball, and you're going to go back and look at the stats tonight and say, well, Romo was intercepted twice. You think about the blitz and the conversation with Des Bryant that you believe Bryant should have been reading the blitz and the pressure, and then that one hits Ogletree right in the hands in the tight red zone. The stats aren't going to tell you what Romo really did tonight.
Stats never tell the whole story, Mike. That's for sure.
Only the 4th penalty called in the first 2.5 quarters here tonight. Cutler telling his center guards, I need the ball now. He's got it. Look out from behind. Ware knocked it free. Recovered by Dallas. Victor Butler got it. But Ware causes the turnover.
I think that's on Jay Cutler. You have to have a clock in your head when you play quarterback, particularly against DeMarcus Ware. It's just a matter of time. If you don't get rid of the football in normal operating procedure, you're going to get sacked and you're going to get stripped and you're going to get in trouble against DeMarcus Ware. But Jay Cutler's got to have a clock in his head and somehow get rid of the football, be willing to throw the ball away. Impact turnover by the perennial Pro Bowler Ware. And once again, Tony Romo is in position to show his mettle, his mental toughness and grit. He needs his wide receivers to step up and finish drives.
Cutler shaking that hand, too, as he took a hit. That's the first fumble by the Bears this year. They hadn't committed a fumble in any of their first 3 games. For the second time in Bear history, they went 3 straight games without a fumble. Glorious opportunity for Romo and the Cowboys. Tony, he lost it. It's right into the hands of Briggs, and Briggs is going. Being chased, Lance Briggs got a block from Jennings, and Lance Briggs with a second defensive score of the night for Chicago.
You gotta be kidding me. Tim Jennings escorts Briggs to pay dirt. These Chicago Bears feast on turnovers.
Look for Henry Melton,
Romo
69.
step up. Romo 69 tips the football. Lance Briggs intercepts it. Watch number 26 come from nowhere to get the block on Vickers to pave the way for Lance Briggs. What a career Briggs has had, and these turnovers have doomed Dallas tonight.
It'll go down as a 74-yard score for the perennial Pro Bowler Briggs. And it's his 5th touchdown of his career. What a swing in the game. A golden opportunity for the Cowboys. Romo just trying to hang in there, make the play. And Henry Melton, who's had a big night coming back to Texas, knocked it away. Lance Briggs was waiting and took it all the way. Second INT for a touchdown. So Henry Melton, who went to college in Austin at Texas, had a sack earlier and gave him hook 'em horns, and that time he beat Mackenzie Bernardo, went right around the newly acquired guard from Bentley. And waiting was Lance Briggs, who turns out to be officially ruled as an interception for touchdown. It's the second one for Chicago tonight. And now Romo and company are down 24-7. Still a lot of time to go, third quarter. Well, next Monday night, we'll see one of the 3 undefeated teams in the National Football League, the Houston Texans. And well, at least the good news for the Jets is they're tied for the AFC East lead.
It's not all bad.
I don't have much more after that right now to boost Jets fans, but we'll see what the week is like around Gang Green and what the Jets come up with after San Francisco cleaned them out yesterday. Jets and Texans will be in New Jersey next Monday night. Coverage begins Monday night, countdown 6:30 Eastern time. So Romo takes over from the 20. DeMarco Murray runs into his offensive lineman, his center Ryan Cook. Still able to make positive yards out of it and gain 6. This is the first half. Bryant doesn't adjust to the blitz. Charles Tillman waiting for it. He's got it, and he's got a pick 6. Still waiting. This could be ruled as a fumble recovery or an interception. For the moment, it was called an interception as Lance Briggs took it. It goes back 74 yards. Those 2 defensive scores have Dallas in a no-huddle here with 5:40 left in the third as Whitten makes the reception.
And this is where Chicago wants to get you on defense. In a predictable passing situation, the Bears are going to play their coverage, their cover 2 system. Now, they've changed it, Mike. They're not playing that old-fashioned Bear cover 2 with Urlacher running down the pipe. They're mixing it up and unleashing a 4-man pass rush.
Romo flinging it out. Murray with a head of steam to the 47-yard line.
Nice job by Tony Romo looking off Lance Briggs, who's got to be exhausted. Here comes Briggs off the field. He was laboring on that last play from the long interception return. They've got to get a fresh linebacker in there. Here comes Geno Hayes, number 58. Chicago's got to be careful here. They gave up a touchdown at the end of the first half. They don't want to get careless and give Dallas anything easy and let Tony Romo back in his game.
It's Hayes, the former Tampa Bay Buccaneer, 58. In Briggs' spot, Murray goes right where he was and takes it in 2. There's territory. Ball comes out after the whistle. Forward progress mark to the Chicago 47.
That's Charles Tillman again. I'm telling you, I would not want to practice against Charles Tillman. He doesn't play like a corner. He plays like Tommy Hearns, the ex-boxer. He's going to go in there and try to punch the ball out of your body with a flurry of jabs. And he's going to get another turnover soon. He's only got one tonight. He's probably mad he didn't get that one.
2nd and 4, another first down. Romo has caught everything coming his way tonight and kind of looks like the Tony Romo we've become used to for the last decade.
Oh, no question. If he gets the protection.
Witten, I should say. Excuse me.
If Tony gets the protection, he's going to have plenty of opportunities to find Witten, who's caught the ball well tonight. And that's a good sign for Dallas. They just got to get something here before the quarter breaks.
7 for 57 for Jason tonight. Felix Jones comes in the game, and a nice run for Felix to the 26-yard line. He only has 2 carries coming into tonight with no yards gained.
You know, the 3 technique is the guy that lines up on the outside shoulder of the guard, and you want to be able to trap him with quick hitters off to the inside. That's great design and execution on an old Tom Landry zero-hole trap. That'll slow the pass rush down. Bill Callahan, the new line coach, offensive coordinator here, ex-New York Jet, doing a nice job with this offensive line, playing with a lot of spare parts, a lot of injuries throughout training camp. They're just going to continue to gel.
Bears bringing the pressure. It's picked up, and Witten has it. Chased by Urlacher to the sideline. And a first down pickup, about 5 yards. A couple of guys who've spent some time in Hawaii together as Pro Bowlers.
Well, that's a receiver looking for a hot adjustment. When the defense blitzes, somebody on the offense has to adjust their route. That's the second time Witten has done it properly. Earlier in the game, we showed it enough. Des Bryant failed to do so. Touchdown Bears.
Romo for Austin.
Tony wants that back. Second time he's missed the seam ball tonight. He missed Bryant in the first half. That time I thought he missed Des Bryant. Running down the seam. Free safety, Conti, 47, is late getting over to the post. Tony should ring that up. Perfect play call. They caught the Bears in a disguise. Conti couldn't get back to the post. They need to hit that one.
That's Kelvin Hayden, another corner in for Chicago, the former Colt who had the key Super Bowl interception against the Bears. 3rd and 6. Bryant didn't hang on.
Disappointing. Second time on 3rd down tonight. Charles Tillman has gone after Des Bryant. Tillman's come up the winner. I think Bryant's got to snatch this ball and catch it. Just a slant route. He's going to cross Tillman's face. Ball's thrown perfectly.
Wow.
Tony Romo isn't getting much help tonight from his receivers. But again, he had a chance to hit Austin on the last play. They've just been out of sync tonight.
This will be a 39-yard field goal attempt for Dan Bailey. Rock solid here in Cowboys Stadium. He adds another one at home. His only miss was the one that Jason Pierre-Paul blocked into the game against the Giants last year. Drive still might be going with a first down, but Bryant couldn't make the catch. Been a tough night for the 3rd-year receiver out of Oklahoma State, Des Bryant. See the numbers, targeted a lot, but a couple of key mistakes could significantly have changed what the score is right now. It's 24-10. Now it's only down 14, 2 minutes left in the 3rd.
That's right. Statistics don't tell the whole story, but once again, Devin Hester has made his presence felt on Monday Night Football. Caught a touchdown pass earlier. Let's see what he does here.
Hang time not as good from Bailey that time. From 3 yards deep. Hester trying to get to the edge. Devin cannot break a tackle. Well done, shy of the 20. On a tackle made by Dan Connor. Let's go back to the Des Bryant issues here tonight.
Well, it just hasn't been good. He's had some catches, but here's a 3rd and 2 early in the game. Back shoulder fade, didn't get his head around. 3rd down and 3. High fade. Romo's not together. They miss a shot there. 3rd down and 7. They fail to make a routine side adjustment. Touchdown Dallas. Now 3rd down and 6. Simple drop. Troy Aikman to Michael Irvin, number 88. Great combination.
Yep.
Stall back to Drew Pearson. Great combination. This number 88 has to refine his game and make those kind of plays for Dallas to be a playoff team again.
Cutler takes over from the 19 with a 14-point lead. He's thrown. Brandon Marshall's having a big game. 11 first down yards to the 30 as Sensabaugh makes the tackle.
It's the bootleg. Every time you run a bootleg, you have an over route, a crossing route. And that time, Marshall shows great awareness. Seeing Gerald Sensabaugh, he sat down in a nice open zone. Early downs, the Bears have been impressive on offense. They've struggled on first down the first 3 weeks. Much better tonight.
Cutler from the 30, still throwing. Alshon Jeffrey. The gain of 5, taking right out of his hands is Claiborne. Now whistled down back there. Whistled down back at the 31. Claiborne seemed to rip it right out of the hands of Jeffrey.
He's a quick learner.
He seems to be putting up a big protest at the mark. Let's look at the end of the play here. Wrapped up as the knee comes down. Has the ball come out yet? Here's the ruling on the field from Walt Anderson.
There's a fumble and recovered by Dallas. The player then stepped out of bounds. First down.
So it is ruled Cowboy ball, and Claiborne taking it away. Now will Lovie Smith challenge that ruling for a second look, but it's a turnover, so he doesn't have to do it. It's an automatic review this year. And Lovie just had that conversation with Walt Anderson. Told him to hold on to your flag there as he walked right out to him.
That's a great job by Claiborne, the first-round draft choice. Ball security in
Previous play is under review.
Ball security in a 14-point ball game is paramount. That's a mistake by Jeffrey.
All right, we'll go look at it. Automatic with the turnover in review. All right, do we have a fumble as ruled on the field by the rookie Alshon Jeffrey? Walt Anderson's just going under the hood to look at it. We have Jerry Austin, twice the referee in the Super Bowl, with us to watch the replays as one of his fellow peers, Walt Anderson, will look at as well. What are you seeing here?
Well, let's look at his left elbow. See when it touches. Now his elbow's on the ground. Now we need to go back and piece together when we see the ball. When was the ball loose?
And this is the angle that Walt Anderson's looking at right now, and they're showing on the video screen here.
Well,
it's coming up right here.
Elbow is down now, and now the ball's loose. It's very tight.
Yeah.
Very tight. I don't know if it's loose soon enough other than to let the call stand. Whichever way it was ruled on the field, Walt may have to stay with that.
So there's not a ton there to concrete come out with a decision, and then you revert back to the call on the field.
That is correct. There's not clear, definitive video evidence that the ball is loose.
Now, Jerry, when we had the substitute officials working during the lockout, there was a lot of help from the replay booth to the referees. We've got Walt Anderson, a Super Bowl veteran referee, in there under the hood. Is he getting as much help as the guys were last week from upstairs in the booth?
They will talk, but Walt will make the final decision. With the replacement officials, the replay official could have had the last word.
Interesting. All right, Jerry, thank you very much. You saw them writing down 2nd and 5 at the 33. As we go back to that play, that's where we were. So let's see what Walt saw under the hood.
After reviewing the play, the receiver's left elbow was on the ground. He was in control of the ball in contact. It'll be Chicago's ball, 2nd down on the 35-yard line. Please reset the game clock to 1:16.
Many Bears fans here very happy. So one more time, back to the elbow is the key there. It's ruling that the ball is in his control still as you zoom it and blow it up.
Well, Dallas is playing a lot of 8-man fronts, and Jay Cutler in this new offense under Mike Tice has the freedom to audible and throw the football. That's what he did that last time. He saw a loaded box and threw it to Jeffrey. Let's see if that continues.
Surprised they're throwing so much with a 14-point lead. 35, they go back to the run this time with Forte.
It's going to be hard to run when Dallas loads that box. If you're in a one-back set, it's hard to run the football into these loaded boxes. Everybody talked about how Mike Martz's system didn't let Cutler audible enough. This year, he's audible more than I've seen him audible under new offensive coordinator Mike Tice. But the more you line up in one-back sets, the more you ask of your quarterback. Big 3rd and 5. Expect pressure from Dallas.
Dane Sanzenbacher, extra receiver in the game. Bottom of the screen for Chicago. As Cutler rolls right, throws on the run to his tight end, and Kellen Davis brought it in. So, John, you mentioned they need action out of the tight end tonight, and they got it.
They sure did. Jay Cutler. A lot of Cowboys look like they're blitzing. He's going to veer to his right and just flick this ball perfectly to Kellen Davis on a corner route. Great poise by Cutler. Big first down.
That 21-yard gain ends the 3rd quarter where Chicago outscored Dallas 14-3, leads by 10. Lovie Smith's team's been very good over the years, holding leads. If they can hold this one, they'll be tied with Minnesota for the NFC North lead at 3-1. 4th quarter begins. 1st and 10, Matt Forte runs for a couple of yards. Chicago up 24-10 on Dallas, and Brandon Marshall and Jay Cutler have been reunited. Remember their days in Denver. And Jeremy Bates, who's with the offense as an assistant coach, is now the quarterback coach here. So they've put together some pieces of the band when Cutler was successful. And tonight, Brandon Marshall, not just 5 catches, 5 important catches.
Yeah, they've really helped Cutler's support system, and it shows tonight.
41-yard line. Forte knock it down for 3 to the 38.
A field goal for Chicago looms large here. They have Robbie Gould, one of the great kickers, down on the sideline. He's made 9 straight field goals of 50 yards or more. Remember, a field goal makes this a 3-possession game. Do not take a sack, and Chicago can really hurt Dallas with the first down here.
Dallas has hurt itself tonight. 14 Chicago points scored by the defense. Roberto Garza, the center, changed the call at the line. Cutler, shot towards Marshall. Comes inside with the catch. They let him drag Brandon Carr inside the 10. It was physical. Carr wanted a flag. Marshall got the ball and the first down.
Brandon Marshall's loving this. 3rd down and medium. Single safety defense, bump and run, and Brandon Marshall went against Carr in Kansas City. There's a deep safety. It's one-on-one coverage. Cutler just looks at the bottom of the screen and says, let's go, Brandon. And it looks like Denver against Kansas City a couple of years ago. Brandon Marshall is a huge target, and he does a great job finding the ball in flight and playing it at his highest point. Big first down.
Gain of 30. He's over 100 yards on the night. 1st and goal. Michael Bush, the big back who smells the end zone. Takes it to the 3-yard line. Frustration, a little pushing. You mentioned Carr. He said, I've gone up against not just Marshall, but Cutler before. And Rob Ryan knew that, and he said, you're going to have Mr. Marshall tonight. You're going to be dealing with him all over the field. And Marshall's used that big body. And Carr hasn't been able to be physical and reroute him the times he needed to.
12 seconds. Chicago's going to have to hurry. This is where they like hand signals to Marshall again at the top of the screen.
Cutler clapping for the ball. He's got it. He gave it to Forte out of the gun. Goes nowhere, and it's 3rd and goal.
You know, when you get a big receiver, 6'5", like Brandon Marshall, you like to use him much like Detroit has used Calvin Johnson. You split him out wide on the goal line, and you let the quarterback execute a check-with-me offense. You call a running play, you hand signal a pass route if you get the one-on-one coverage. You watch Jay Cutler here. If he gets a loaded box in one-on-one coverage, he's going to put the ball up to Brandon Marshall at the top of the screen.
Dallas making late substitutions. Devin Hester is in the game as well for the Bears. Cutler rolls left, Backpedaling, launching towards Marshall. Incomplete, but a flag down. Danny McCray, who's become a starting safety, was the one who was complaining and saying, wait, the ball was tipped.
Well, it's a sprint out to the left.
Pass interference, number 39, defense. Foul occurred in the end zone. First down at the 1 yard line.
No question about that call, if you ask me.
And that's what McCray was saying, that I tipped the ball. And that tip, as we had a couple of weeks ago, does factor into a pass interference play.
Number 67 and number 79, 2 players, 67 and 79.
Could be challenged.
Yeah, exactly. A tip ball is a challengeable play. And Rob Ryan and these guys are spending time yelling at the official instead of throwing a challenge flag. Now Rob Ryan's telling Jason Garrett, throw your challenge flag. He's just thrown the flag. Nobody saw it. Now it was seen. It was seen just before. And Rob Ryan is screaming over there at the official. One for the call, and then they calmed down enough to realize that it was reviewable. Reviewable if there's a deflection. Deflection can adjust pass interference if it's called. The question always becomes, was the grabbing and the flag thrown already before the deflection happens?
And I would argue with you, Jerry, but the way coaches are getting fined, I'm going to...
Dallas is challenging the ruling on the field that the pass was not tipped prior to being incomplete in the pass interference.
We'll sort that out for you. Let you and Jerry argue during the break and the review. So the regular officials have come back, and Walt Anderson has had a busy night. What's being reviewed right now, there was a deflection of the ball on the pass. We'll bring Jerry Austin back in. Jerry, a deflection of a pass, as we said before the break, negates pass interference. But the question is, what if the pass interference happened before the ball was tipped?
If the pass interference happens before the ball was tipped, the question is the proximity of the tip to where the interference occurred. Is there enough distance? And I would say, yes, this is enough distance that the tip now comes into play. The only thing...
After reviewing the play, the ball was tipped by Dallas number 40 prior to the pass interference. There is no foul. It'll be Chicago's ball, 4th down at the 3 yard line.
That's a correct call because there was a sufficient distance between where the ball was tipped and where the foul was called.
So it's huge, John, because it becomes 4th and goal, and you have to kick a field goal as opposed to 1st and goal at the 1.
But it is a huge field goal for Robbie Gould to make this a 17-point game and a 3-possession ball game.
And it was a good job by whoever reminded Jason Garrett that he could throw the flag and challenge that situation, because the play was just about to start. Rob Ryan was yelling at the official. Jason Garrett was trying to get his attention. And you could tell it was set in their headsets, because right away there were the gestures to start throwing the red flag to challenge. Extra point size field goal for Robbie Gould. And from 21, he bangs it through, and it's 27-10. The Bears extend the lead to 17. All right, just 11 minutes left in this NFL week, and then it'll be recapped tomorrow afternoon, 3 Eastern, noon Pacific. Mike and Mike's best of the NFL. Top performers, most electric plays. Guys love power rankings, so you listen to the guys when you wake up in the morning on ESPN Radio. Then they'll have the best of the NFL, 3 Eastern time, right here on ESPN. Felix Jones awaits the Robbie Gould kickoff, and the Bears have a couple of terrific coverage men in Eric Weems, Blake Costanzo. They're down trying to tackle Felix now. And there's Costanzo at the bottom of the pile, and Weems with him at the 15-yard line.
Brandon Marshall's been a big story tonight, Mike. He's played flanker. I've seen him run slants and make it happen after the catch. They've motioned him into the slot. He's used his big body to separate. He's played flanker. He sat down against zone coverages and really hurt Dallas after the catch. And if you play bump and run with him, I don't care how much you pay your corners. He has a size strength advantage. Chicago has not had a receiver like Brandon Marshall that I can remember.
In the 15, Romo and the Cowboys need points, need them in a hurry. Des Bryant with a gain of 9. No huddle here, John?
No question. You got to get up and go. You got to assume Chicago's going to be in this cover 2 system. Try to keep the ball in play. Keep everything in front of him. Romo's got to be patient. Take a look at Murray. He's got to do a great job of chipping on number 90, Peppers.
Twist up front. Murray is left free to get the ball and go. Puts his head down and gets a first down at the 31-yard line.
And Chicago is going to count on Dallas making a mistake. They've self-destructed during these long drives tonight. They're going to stay in this cover 2 shell until the ball crosses the 50. The clock is the only enemy.
Romo with a shot downfield. Bryant right through his hands. And the story of the night continues to be what Des Bryant has not been able to do.
Well, Chicago got into some single safety there. They rotated late, and Des Bryant on a slant and go beats Tillman easy. You got to make this play. Too many highs, too many lows in Des Bryant's game right now. Wow.
54.
Second and 10, pressure up the middle picked up. Right back to Bryant on the near sideline. He'll be marked down right at the 39. Third and a couple coming up. 10-14 to go.
Tony Romo continues to work his third-year wideout. Got to have some amnesia. You got to have a short-term memory. Romo's in the no-huddle offense, and they love to isolate Bryant away from the trips at the bottom of the screen.
Romo comes back across the middle. It's incomplete. It's Dwayne Harris, who yet to have a catch, and it'll be 4th down right before that play after the drop by Des Bryant down the sideline. Romo ends up coming right back to him on the near side, and Tony comes back as he's walking back there. You know, hey, hang in there, coming back to you. Does come back to him as he passes the play along. He goes over 100 yards. He actually has the most yards he's had in his career tonight with 105. But it should be a night remember for the plays that he didn't make. 4th and 3, they go for it on their own side of midfield with under 10 left.
They got him down here this time.
Romo over the middle, Miles Austin. DJ Moore the tackle with a 4th down pickup by Tony on a gain of 16 to Austin.
Staple pattern in the Cowboy offense. They clear it out to the inside. They clear it out to the outside. Miles Austin works to cross face in the slot. Big first down.
Chicago back in its familiar 2-deep safety defense with a marker down. Underneath, it's a 5-yard gain with Murray out of the backfield.
I think it's a penalty on Des Bryant. I think he shifted and wasn't set.
Illegal shift, number 88, offense. 5-yard penalty, still 1st down.
Sloppy football. When a quarterback changes the play and you have to adjust your split, you have to get set for a full count. But he's way too casual here lining up, and it cost Dallas 5 yards.
There's 2 linebackers on the field, Briggs and Urlacher, both right over the center and then bailing out in the middle. As Romo flicks it forward, Murray's not going to get out of the DJ Moore tackle. He's twisted like a pretzel for no gain.
Those linebackers that line up in those A gaps between the guard and the center create so much confusion. That time an unblocked Bear forces Romo to abort that play.
What's the football term there? Sugar in the A gap?
Sugar in the A gap.
What does that mean to people at home?
They're bluffing the blitz.
Those guys have done it play after play for many years. Romo underneath, intercepted by DJ Moore, who picked Romo twice here in 2010.
He's another opportunistic, undersized, tough Chicago Bear.
4th interception of Tony Romo tonight. The 3rd time in his 9 career picks that Moore has taken one from Romo here in Cowboys Stadium. Only one game where Tony Romo has thrown more interceptions. That was the 5 he threw October 8th of 2007. On that Monday night in Buffalo, the 5 picks, but Nick Folk hit the game-winning field goal a couple of times to get the win for Dallas up in Orchard Park that night. No such luck so far. Down 17, Bears ball. Michael Bush. Gets the game to the 38, John.
Well, it's a staple route in the Cowboys offense. They clear it out inside. They clear it out outside. I think Miles Austin is supposed to cross DJ Moore's face. He goes over the top. Tony Romo's late down the middle, and DJ Moore has a routine interception. I'd like to see Austin cross DJ Moore's face. But it just doesn't look like the Cowboys are on the same page tonight. They failed in some sight adjustments, some drop passes. Can't do that against the Bears. They thrive on mistakes.
The game that DJ Moore has had, playing that nickel role. Michael Bush with the carry, a couple of yards shy from the first down. We have the clock stopped here at 7:41. The Cowboys taking a timeout, trying to preserve as much time as possible, get the ball back on 3rd down. Cowboy loss, and they fall to 2-2 with the rest of the division, save the Eagles, who just win 1 or 2 point games so far this year.
You know, the first quarter of the season is going to be in the books. And you know Lovie Smith loves to break down each season into quarters, 4-game segments. In Chicago looks like they're going to get out of here 3-1. That's a heck of a quarter to start the season.
Sure is.
But you have to really respect what first-year offensive coordinator Mike Tyson's done with his offense. They've done some nice things.
It's been interesting in here tonight, John. You see the Bears try to urge those fans behind them. There are a significant number of orange shirts. I look down to my left towards the end zone. A bunch of Bears fans who are enjoying the night because their team has a chance to tie Minnesota at 3-1 here in the NFC North with the Packers and then the Lions. Kind of reverse of the way the division ended last year for the moment. 3rd and 3, and Cutler will throw it for the tight end, and what a catch by Davis! Kellen Davis fought for the ball and made the play at the 35.
That's an old-fashioned spider 2 wide banana, Mike, and Kellen Davis, for the 2nd time tonight, goes up and gets the corner. Cutler just trusts that Davis's size and strength is going to win here, and that's a great catch. Tremendous concentration by Kellen Davis. That could be the straw that broke the Cowboys back. Huge first down.
Kellen Davis only 3 receptions in his first 3 games, 31 for his career. Tonight has caught 3 balls, and we talked to Jay Cutler about that last night. He needs a tight end to develop in this offense. Good night for the former Spartan from Michigan State, Davis.
Chicago continues to run the big back Bush to the weak side, and they're using number 87, Kellen Davis, as a backside blocker and a fullback. Very creative.
Timeout, Dallas, 1 remaining.
Stuart Scott with you, Sports Center after the game. The GMC post-game report highlights and analysis of Cowboys and Bears. Top 10 NFL plays of Week 4. And in baseball, they're celebrating in our nation's capital and Detroit. And Mike Tirico, 100 games calling Monday Night Football. We salute you.
Thank you, Stu. It's much more the other people as well. There are many of our crew that have been here for all 100 that our group has done, and we are very appreciative of everyone's efforts and dedication to the program over the years. 27-10, Bears on top. Michael Bush with the carry for a half yard. John, when we came out of break, our director Chip Dean was showing all those Bears fans having a good time. We mentioned how many Bears fans have been here tonight. They've been making a lot of noise. We know Bears fans travel well. Some relocate from the Midwest down here. Think of the Dallas fans. There's no stadium like this in the National Football League. It's such a spectacle, spectacular venue. But the Cowboys haven't found the formula to win here. They're 14-12 in the regular season unless they come back here tonight. And that's something this team needs to build. They need to build a home field edge in this stadium that has everything else you could ask for.
That's hard to do because when you're the visiting team, you walk in here and you go, whoa, this is awesome. You're excited. It's different. It's strange. This is like a amusement park to me. But when you're a visiting team, you come in here and you're saying, oh, this just juices me up. I'd love to beat Dallas in their home stadium. Yeah. Plus, you know, you look at where these players come out. I've seen these Dallas Cowboys, they come out, it's like they're coming out of a sports bar. Mm-hmm. They really are, Mike. They have dancing girls up here, and it's a fun place to play. I'm having a good time up here. But it's not clearly been an advantage for the Cowboys yet. They got to figure that out.
This is 3rd and 6. Dallas out of timeouts. Cutler to Marshall with nobody home. Chicago touchdown.
You got Danny McCray, number 40, pressed into service. And Brandon Carr, and they blow a coverage. The one guy you don't want to blow a coverage against is Brandon Marshall. Good protection against an all-out blitz. And Brandon Marshall puts an exclamation point on a great night. He's just going to come across the formation and sit down just like he did earlier, and they blow the coverage. Wow. Cutler and Marshall. A legitimate go-to combination for the Chicago Bears. I can hear those Bear fans back on Michigan Avenue. They got to be excited. They haven't had a 1,000-yard receiver since 2002, Mike. They haven't had a Pro Bowl receiver since Marty Booker. They have a legitimate candidate right now. But Marshall comes across in motion. Kellen Davis runs an outside break, essentially brushes Brandon Carr. Levels of defense when you're playing man-to-man. If you get a corner and a safety playing man coverage on the same level, someone's going to get picked off. Do not make a mistake against Brandon Marshall.
There's been a lot said about Brandon Marshall. Very complex, talented, yet complex and troubled at times individual. Lisa Salters has more now and tomorrow.
Yeah, Mike, Brandon Marshall, very happy guy on the sideline right now. And he says that he's really just a changed guy. Very well documented, all the legal problems that he's had, the outbursts, arguments with coaches. You talked about it earlier in the show. I talked to Brandon Marshall about all of that a couple of months ago. He's focus of a feature story on East 60 tomorrow night at 7 o'clock on ESPN. And Brandon says, hey, he was actually relieved when he was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. He told me that he was starting to wonder, what's wrong with me? Now he says he knows who he is. He knows how to be a better person. He believes he is. I've talked to just about everyone in his life, his mom, his dad, his quarterback, Jay Cutler. They all say that Brandon Marshall is indeed a better guy.
We'll look forward to that story tomorrow, Lisa. E60, it's one of the features on the show. Outstanding award-winning show, 7 o'clock tomorrow night on ESPN. Marshall diagnosed that borderline personality disorder last year. Look, he's been traded twice for a couple of second-round picks, a couple of third-round picks. Denver to Miami, Miami to Chicago. People think they can fix him and cure him and get him right, but people also think he's talented but too much of a headache. So where will Chicago end up on that side of the teeter-totter with Marshall? Time will tell. Lisa's story will give you more of an insight tomorrow. Pass to Witten, tackled by Briggs. Gain of 3.
When you talk about Lovie Smith, Rod Marinelli, two great defensive coaches that have been together a long time. Mike, they don't play defense in Chicago like any other team. No gimmicks. None of these walk-around, 5-man rover blitzes. It's straight-up football, and here's another turnover.
And that's Major Wright.
Wow.
Toe tap, feet inbounds, and that ties a career low, if you will, for Tony Romo. 5 interceptions, and the Bears have 14 takeaways to lead the NFL.
Oh, when you see this cover, too, you're a quarterback like Tony Romo, who's had great success. I call it the turkey hole between the corner and the safety. This time, Major Wright reads it all the way. I go back to these coaches, Lovie Smith, Rod Marinelli, the instinctive, physical kind of players they've acquired and the way they've trained them. They're a wrecking machine on defense, and if Cutler and this offense continue to grow, look out.
Khalil Bell is now the running back for the Bears, and they're just pounded inside with Bell and churn some clock. John, I want to go back to, as Romo's been picked 5 times tonight, the Green Bay game. And we saw Aaron Rodgers and the Packers after they played Chicago, and now we see the Bears. And you remarked at watching the tape how almost arrogant it was. The Bears kept playing the same defensive coverage, which is so atypical to what the rest of the league does.
I love it. We won a championship in Tampa with a similar style, but Lovie Smith has sustained it for a long time. He's mastered it. Their players believe in it, and it is an arrogant style. They're telling you, Mike, here we are, beat us.
Penalty marker down.
Ball start, 32, offense. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
So answer me this. In this world of 57's the mic and defenses are running around and then they're banging their head to go to a different defensive call and all the complexities, as you said, guys walking around. Why does a basic, fundamentally sound defense work in the complex NFL?
Very disciplined, tremendous pride in what they're doing, and they have a lot of talent. They've got 5 defenders on defense that are over 30 years old. Peppers, Urlacher, Briggs, obvious potential Hall of Fame candidates. Very good team, very well coached.
Second down, Cutler is turning and goes down. It'll be a sack. It's a big win for Lovie Smith. He's from Big Sandy, Texas, 100 miles east of here. Has a ton of folks, family, and friends here at the game tonight. And when you're in Big Sandy, Texas, like the rest of America, you grew up with the late game and the Dallas Cowboys on TV. And he grew up a huge Dallas Cowboys fan, and that was the guy he loved. Roger Staubach.
You know, there's so many guys, though. He was quoting the entire roster. Lovie Smith was one of the big Bear fans of all time, but when he got to meet Roger Staubach, that was a great story. He was so excited to meet Roger Staubach. His kids came and got him and said, "There's Roger Staubach." Lovie Smith will never forget that.
That was 2 years ago here when the Bears were playing the Cowboys. As a Khalil Bell run takes it to the 41-yard line. Talk about a love for Roger Staubach and everything he stood for at Navy, his tremendous accomplishments, his college career. Do you know what Roger Staubach's record was as a starting quarterback? There's something that doesn't get talked about in this stat world.
What was it?
85-29. He won almost 75% of his games. And for a generation, as we get older and away from the days Staubach played, that's a mind-blowing number. Lovie looks great, too. He lost 30 pounds. He lost his mom last year, February 2011. Says family has a history of medical problems. And he's taken a lot of time to get himself in much better shape. So he's lost 30 pounds. We asked him, how much weight did you drop? He said, well, I can't say because every time I mention it, the coaches get on my case. So.
Lost 30 pounds by not eating as much and exercising, and he recommended the same thing to you, Mike.
He looked at you,
You've
too.
been on those first-class flights stealing those peanuts, man. You gotta love Coach Smith, though. What a program he has. Don't forget, these Chicago Bears play their hearts out now, and they represent the city of Chicago well. I like watching the Bears every time I see them.
And we're going to see them a couple more times. We'll be at Soldier Field late October as they play the Lions on a Monday night, and then we've got to get San Francisco a bit later on in the year.
Look at Briggs, 7 straight Pro Bowls. Longest of any defender in pro football. He's going to number 8, I believe.
Put the block on, didn't get to it, and Dwayne Harris with the fair catch. So let's go back. If you're just joining us, one of the key plays in this game that was tight.
Well, right guard McKenzie Minardo. One-on-one pass protection with Henry Melton. Can't get it done. Call it an interception or a fumble. Call it whatever you want. It turns into an impact turnover touchdown for Lance Briggs, and that really ended Dallas's night.
New quarterback for the Cowboys, and it's Kyle Orton, the former Bear, Fourth-round pick of Chicago in 05, played for them for 4 years. Then when they acquired Jay Cutler, Orton moved on. He throws Jason Witten complete. Remember, Kyle started 15 games as a rookie. Very successful rookie season. You know, people get very defensive when you use the term managing the game, but he was asked to do it, coming right out of Purdue, and did it quite well for the Bears. And Philip Tanner out of the backfield, put on his back.
That's what happens when you have linebackers that understand this zone concept of defense. He saw the quarterback check the ball down the whole way, and Geno Hayes just made the Bears highlight reel.
Andre Holmes, wide receiver in the game from Dallas, through the hands of Tanner. And incomplete. Of course, Orton went to Denver. He started 15 games. So as Cutler leaves Denver, goes to Chicago. Kyle comes to the Broncos, started in 2011 as well. And then after the 5 starts in 2011, they turn it over to Tebow. Orton gets traded to Kansas City. His deal is done. I thought for a bit about going back to Chicago to back up Jay Cutler, but instead ends up here as a backup to Romo in Dallas. This is first action in the regular season for the Cowboys. It's Cole Beasley with the catch to the 31.
I think one of the things Dallas needs to do is run the football. This game's over. They need to get a running game. Tonight, no running game. Murray, 11 carries, 24 yards. Mike, he had 82 yards on 30 carries in the last 2 games. Right. Dallas has no balance on offense at all.
2-minute warning in Texas. We have the GMC postgame coming up after Sports Center. You saw Stuart Scott, Trent Dilfer, Steve Young are here. Everybody back in the studio. All the scores and highlights, a recap and analysis of this win that takes the Bears to 3-1. Julius Peppers and company will head back to Chicago and have a short week. Then they will take on the Jaguars. A game down in North Florida on Sunday, and then a week off before we catch up with them against the Lions on Monday, 3 weeks from now. Orton throws it complete to Andre Holmes. So the Cowboys, we talked about John coming in there, low total of points. If you add tonight's to it, Dallas will have 57 points through 4 games.
Unbelievable. They'll be last in pro football in scoring. Nice throw to Jason Witten down the seam. Witten has, I'm sure, regained his confidence, which is a great sign for Dallas. That's been about the only bright spot.
11 catches for Witten. Ball not marked in the proper place, and moving it back to the right spot at the 41. John, the Cowboys will be off this week, and then they have 2 road games, starting a stretch of 4 of the next 5 on the road. Philip Tanner swings out of a tackle, takes it to the 26. Dallas will play at Baltimore and at Carolina. That Baltimore is now a place to get your run game healthy, and they need to, in your mind.
Well, when you run the ball 53 times for 128 yards in 3 games, you look up in the Raptors, Emmitt Smith, a lot of those great Cowboys teams, you forget how well they ran the football with one of the most physical offensive lines I've ever seen. They got to get a running game. I know the situation is dire right now, but when you run the ball for less than 2.5 yards a carry in 3 consecutive ball games, you're asking a lot of this offensive line in pass protection, and obviously Tony Romo and a young receiving corps.
And 14 for 52. They've been in balance with many more passes than in the other 2 games before this, and obviously tonight coming from behind. Cole Beasley with the catch, out of bounds at the 5, 38 seconds left.
Cole Beasley, interesting story. Local boy.
Out of SMU, undrafted. Made the team with a very good preseason where they were searching for a third receiver, a slot receiver, just one of those knacks to get open. Boy, if you have Des Bryant on or against your fantasy team, you're holding your breath, and that's about it right now. Or Witten. And there's Jason with a touchdown with 34 seconds left to make it 34-16.
Jason Witten, that's one of the all-time great Cowboys. I'm very happy to see Witten have a big night statistically. In all areas, he's blocked well. He's finished the ball game. 12 catches, touchdown. Good for him.
It's a 100-yard night for Witten. 15th time he's done that in his career. Single game high for receptions is 15. He had that against the Lions 5 years ago. That was catch number 13. And Des Bryant gets the two-point conversion, 34-18. A 16-point game with 34 seconds remaining. John, you were talking about what's missing from the Cowboys. That's the ability to run the ball. We've seen it in pass protection, and we've seen it in lack of a running game.
We used to come out here when I was just a kid playing with the Packers. They used to have Mark 2-A, Nate Newton, Stepnoski, Kevin Gogan. Then they had Larry Allen in there. But this guy, Eric Williams, he used to scare our players and me. But they would hand a ball to Emmett behind Moose Johnson, and they would grind on you. Then when I was coaching the Raiders, I'll never forget Nate Newton coming off, hitting one of our linebackers, and just, oh my gosh. And Al Davis looked over to Jimmy Johnson and said, "Who's your left guard?" I said, "That's the biggest left guard I've ever seen." But that's what the Cowboys were, in my opinion, when they were great. They would mash you with the running game, and then Troy Aikman would just rip you with Irvin and Harper and Novacek with that play-action pass. But this offensive line is just coming together. 2 new guards. They've had 6 different centers. Tyron Smith went from right tackle to left tackle. Free went from left tackle to right tackle, but there's no balance in this offense right now, and they're paying for it tonight.
They're going to hope to get Phil Costa back, and Bill Callahan, who was an assistant on your staff. And then when you went to Tampa, he coached the Raiders against you in the Super Bowl. Bill went to Nebraska after that, and then the Jets. He is, as the onside kick is through the legs of Jeffrey, but Alshon gets back on it with 34 seconds. Well, Callahan's a very respected offensive line coach.
No question. They got the right guy. Their players, obviously, up front on the offensive line, missed training camp with injuries. They've only worked together for a few weeks, but no matter what we say up here, the Dallas Cowboys have got to find a running game. Bill Callahan knows that. So does Jason Garrett.
A good win for the Bears, who beat Indianapolis. And before we go, we should add everybody's thoughts around the league to Chuck Pagano, the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts, hospitalized what they've termed a treatable form of leukemia. We wish him the best as he gets some kneel-down pushing.
Well, Josh Brent swiped the ball early.
This whole situation that started with Tampa was against Dallas last week, and the Cowboys saw it happen to their offense 3 times last week. Everybody's separated away, and the game comes to an end. Jay Cutler had a great game for him. Completed 2/3 of his passes above tonight. 10 or more yards a pass. Didn't throw a pick. Just solid times for Cutler. First career game that he's put those kind of numbers up. Romo intercepted 5 times, and the bottom line is Chicago 34, Dallas 18. The 3-1 Bears, the 2-2 Cowboys. SportsCenter's coming up next. Glad you joined us here tonight in Texas with John Gruden, Lisa Salters, and our great Monday Night Football team. Mike Tirico, so long from Arlington. This has been a presentation of ESPN.